Okay, so we said we have to repeat the recursive process as long as we are not reaching the base case. Once we reach the base case, we need to stop the recursion. Okay, so this you can see when you are calculating the factorial of 3 using a recursion. So how it will go? So first factorial of 3 we are calculating. So factorial of 3 is nothing but n into factorial of n minus 1. So here when you are calculating the factorial of 3, the n value is 3, isn't it? If you are calculating the factorial of 3, the n value is 3. So n into n minus 1 factorial of n minus 1. N into factorial of n minus 1, that is nothing but 3 into factorial of 2. So here we need to replace this factorial of 2 with what? With the factorial of 2 value. So how we can calculate the factorial of 2 value? Once again employ the recursive definition to it. So factorial of 2 is nothing but, here take the n value as 2. Okay, so n value got decremented by 1. So take the n value as 2. So now factorial of 2 is nothing but, so over here what we need to replace in the sense this entire thing. So 2 multiplied with factorial of 1, because n multiplied with factorial of n minus 1. So 2 multiplied with factorial of 1. So this factorial of 1, what we need to put? Once again, take the n value as 1 and apply the definition. N value is 1 now. So now factorial of 1, this is again n into n minus 1, n into factorial of n minus 1. So n is 1. 1 multiplied with factorial of n minus 1 is nothing but 1 minus 1, that is factorial of 0. So this factorial of 0 is nothing but our base case, because if you see the recursive definition, there we said whenever n value is 0, replace this by 1. Isn't it? Whenever n value goes to 0, replace this by 1. So here you can see n value is 0, replace that by 1. So the same thing we are doing over here. So factorial of 0, we said 1. So put that 1 in place of this, in place of this. So over here 1 multiplied with factorial of 0. What is factorial of 0? Here we put that factorial of 0. You can see here. So not there. Here actually. This one is here, and this one from where we got, in the sense because we replaced factorial of 0 with 1. So here factorial of 0 with 1 we replaced, so we got this 1 multiplied with 1, that is 1. So factorial of 1 is what? Factorial of 1 is 1 only, because here you can see 1 multiplied with 1, that is 1 only. So factorial of 1 you replace over here, this you replace with factorial of 1 value. We got the factorial of 1, that is 1. So 2, this 2 we are getting as it is here, and this 1 from where we are getting, because we are replacing factorial of 1. So we got 1. So 2 multiplied with 1, again we got 2. Okay, this is factorial of 2 is 2. So this factorial of 2 you replace over here, factorial of 2. So 3 multiplied with factorial of 2. So what is that? 3 multiplied with factorial of 2 is nothing but, that is 2 only. So 3 multiplied with 2, you will get 6. So this is how we got the factorial of a given number. So from that number we need to reach the base case, and from that base case we have to apply the process in reverse. Okay, yeah. So quickly we demonstrate the iterative solution and recursive solution for finding the factorial of a given number. Okay, so first we will write the iterative solution for finding the factorial. So iterative solution, in the sense what we have to do, we need to take a loop in order to satisfy the stuff. So over here hash include stdio dot h, then int main of void, come down and put two curly brackets and go to the end, and here you take the definition of factorial function. So int factorial of int, at the end put the semicolon. This program is very important. Okay, so int read the number n, comma the result value to store. I'm taking another variable, that is result. So print f, so here enter any number, put the colon and put the semicolon at the end, then scanf, then percentile d, read that number into and percent n. Okay, now you call the factorial of what is that, n. Okay, go to the end and put the semicolon and printf. Okay, factorial of percentile d is percentile d. You can put like this. Here you can put like this. So first percentile d is you need to replace with n, and second percentile d you need to replace with the result. Go to the end and put the semicolon. And what is missing in this program? The definition of function factorial is missing. So the definition you write int factorial of int, I'm reading into num, and here you write the definition int take one variable to run the loop, and factorial is equals to 1, because when you multiply the value of because we need to multiply from 1 to that number. So if you take 0 into consideration for fact, what will happen? The entire result will become 0. So that to avoid, we are taking the fact value as 1. Okay, that is the only intention in taking fact value as 1. There is nothing apart. Okay, so then run the loop. For all I equals to 1, I must be less than or equals to up to that number, and I plus plus. So inside this loop, what we have to do? Simply make fact equals to fact multiplied with I. Okay, in the first iteration I value will be 1, second iteration 2, third iteration 3, likewise up to num. Okay, whatever number you are receiving, whatever factorial you want to find, whatever number you are receiving, up to that number we are multiplying all the numbers, and we are storing the result in factorial, fact, fact. So return, after completing everything, return fact. That's it. That fact will be stored inside this result, and that result we are printing over here. Okay, in this way we can achieve the solution. Then this is the iterative solution for finding the factorial. Program is successfully compiled and execute. So it is asking me to enter some number. So if I enter 4, the result should be 24. Okay, factorial of 4 is 24. Likewise, so if I take some 7, yes, 5040, likewise we will get the result. Okay, so this is the recursive approach, iterative approach to find the factorial of a given integer. So the same way we need to perform the recursive approach, and I mean when we are using the iterative approach, where our loop is breaking when I value is reaching the supplied number, whatever number you are supplying. So let us say 4 we have supplied, then I value once becomes 4, the loop will terminate. So in that way we are finding the factorial. So then the second approach, that is the recursive approach, and we need to change, I mean we need to do minor modifications in the program. See here the stuff is same, the main function is same for both recursive as well as iterative approaches. What we need to change is only here we need to change the definition of the function, we need to change. So that is, if at all my num value goes to 0, then what we have to do? Return, isn't it, return 1. Otherwise what we have to do? Otherwise in the else part, return, okay, n multiply, no, not n, I think num multiplied with factorial of num minus 1. That's it. Same whatever definition we have taken into the discussion, into the theory discussion, that same definition I am writing over here. The simple approach. If num value goes to 0, return 1. If num value is other than 0, simply return, I mean simply perform this. Okay, so here what we are doing, we are calling the function recursively. So here factorial of num is calling factorial of num minus 1. In this way we are achieving the recursion. If a function calls itself, we are calling this as a recursion. Okay, so compile, as you can see the compilation successful, then run. See, it is asking me to enter the number, I am entering 5, and it is returning the factorial value as 120. This is the recursive approach to find out the factorial. Hopefully you understood. So then we have after finding the factorial. Okay, this is from I mean all the function calls from the number you are passing, how it is decrementing itself, and how a separate function will be invoked with a decremented value. That entire thing is shown over here. Okay, step by step recalling of recursive function, it is shown. We are passing, suppose if you are taking the n value as 3, if you are entering inputting the number as 3, then that 3 is invoking factorial of 2. Okay, that 2 is invoking factorial of 1, factorial of 0. Likewise, we are getting all the definitions from the passed number to the base case. So this is my passed number and this is my base case. So here we are passing 3, so here it will become 2, and here it will become 1, and here it will become 0, and 0 is our base case. So here value 1 will be returned. So it is going in reverse now. So 1 will be returned, and 1 multiplied with 1, it will be 1 only. So here 1 will be returned, and 1 multiplied with 2, it will be 2. So 2 will be returned. 2 multiplied with 3, it will be 6. So 6 will be returned. Likewise, 3 factorial, you are getting the value 6. So here it is shown 1 returned, 1 returned, 2 returned, 6 returned. So you are getting 6 on the output screen. So what we are passing? 3 we are passing to find out. In the first iteration of the recursive call, the value is becoming 2. In the second iteration of the recursive call, the value is becoming 1. The third iteration of the recursive call, the value is becoming 0. And when the value is becoming 0, we are reaching the base case. So if the base case is reaching, the value 1 will be returned. Then in the reverse process, what will happen? Every time it will be the final value will be calculated and returned. So here when 1 returned, the final value gets over here. So 1 into 1, it will become 1. So 1 will be returned here. Then 1 into 2, 2. Then 2 will be returned. 2 into 3, 6. That 6 will be returned likewise. So then we have the Fibonacci number. The finding the Fibonacci number is another example for recursion. Okay, recursive approach. So what is Fibonacci sequence? In the sense, the first two numbers in your Fibonacci sequence will be 0 and 1. So understand this Fibonacci series. The first two numbers in your Fibonacci series will be 0 and 1. And the next number, the third number in your Fibonacci series, to get, what you have to do, add the first two numbers. Add the first two, or we can say add the preceding two numbers, or add the previous two numbers. Okay, a particular number in the Fibonacci series is the sum of the previous two numbers, we can say. Sum of the previous two numbers. Okay, so the first two numbers, that is term 1 and term 2, they are fixed. Term 1 is 0 and term 2 is 1, and from term 3 the rule is add the previous two numbers. To get the term, add the previous two numbers. So to get T3, what we are doing, add 0 plus 1, you will get 1. So to get T4, what we need to do, add the previous two, 1 plus 1. These two we need to add, so you will get 2. 2 we are placing over here. Then to get T5, term 5, add the previous two, this and this. So you get 2 plus 1, 3. Then to add T6, to get the T6, add T5, T4. 3 plus 2, 5. Likewise, 8, 13, 21, 34. Likewise, you will get all the numbers in your Fibonacci series. So Fibonacci series, yeah, you will give for this program, what you will give as input, in the sense, you will give the number of terms, how many number of terms you want. Let us say if you say the first 5 terms, then till what you need to print, 0 1 2 0 1 1 2 3, till this point we need to print first 5 numbers, in the sense. First 10 numbers, in the sense, till 34 we need to print. Likewise, hopefully you understood. And this Fibonacci series, why the name Fibonacci? In the sense, this this number series is named after an Italian mathematician, Leonardo Fibonacci, of 13th century. In 13th century only they invented this Fibonacci series, and they named the series after the inventor name. And this was uh, invented by, or this was given by famous mathematician, French mathematician, whose name is Leonardo Fibonacci. and when he has done that one, in the sense in the 13th century he has given this idea of Fibonacci series. Okay, so to start, as we said, term 0, that is Fibonacci 0 will be 0, and Fibonacci 1 will be 1, and Fibonacci n will be Fibonacci of n minus 1 plus Fibonacci of n minus 2. Term term n to get term n minus 1 plus term n minus 2. Okay, the concept is very simple, and the starting two terms will be 0. First term will be 0 and second term will be 1. That you need to remember. Okay, so here how this calculation goes, in the sense, whenever you are going for Fibonacci of n, what you have to do, Fibonacci of n minus 2 plus Fibonacci of n minus 1 you need to do. So to get the n minus 1, n minus 2, n minus 3, to get n minus 2, n minus 3, n minus 4, like that this series will go, keep on, it will go. Okay, okay, examples we need to see to get the Fibonacci series in both iterative as well as recursive ways. Okay, uh, firstly we discuss the iterative approach to print the Fibonacci series. So start the program, hash include stdio.h, then void Fibonacci of int. That means it is a void function with parameter. Then void main of void main of void, yes, or else you can take int main of void, int main of void. Function declaration is over, and we need to call the function now. So take n as the parameter. So how many times, how many terms you want? Print f, enter the number of terms in your Fibonacci series. So whatever you give as input, that will come inside the n. So read that one, scanf percentile d comma and percent n. Okay, so now you call that Fibonacci of n. Okay, call that number. Next thing, void Fibonacci of int n, read that into n. Next, take here few things, int I, then we set term 1 equals to 0, the first term, then we set term 2 equals to 1. Okay, then we take another one, next term. Okay, like this. So now take a loop for all I equals to 1, I must be less than equals to n, and I plus plus. Okay, so the next thing, yeah, printf percentile d, yeah, take a comma because we need commas in between the numbers, or you can even take the spaces over there. Then print term 1, we are printing term 1. So every time we print term 1 only, but how we calculate the next term, that is important. Next term equals to term 1 plus term 2, and every time we will repeat this, term 1 plus term 2. Next, what you have to do, make term 1 as term 2 and term 2 as next term. Term 1 as term 2 and make term 2 as next term. Okay, so this is the program that we need to code. So now this will print the Fibonacci series up to the given number. Just see, compile, compilation successful. Now you execute. So enter the number of terms, how many terms you want. I said I want 5 terms, so hit the enter. What it is doing, see, the first two numbers it is printing 0 and 1. Okay, then third term it is printing 1, fourth term 1 plus 1 2, and fifth term it is printing 2 plus 1 3. Likewise, if you want further terms, just execute the program one more time and give the this time let us say I want first 20 terms in the Fibonacci series. It is printing the first 20 terms. See, 0 1 1 2 3 5 8 13 21 34 55 89, like that it is calculating up to the 20th term, and it is printing that one. Hopefully you understood this thing. Okay, so this is how we can print the Fibonacci series in iterative approach. So the recursive approach, here we need to modify few things in recursive approach. So that is yeah, instead of making this void as void, make it as int only. Then int main void, read here only you read n terms, number of, that is nothing but n only. Okay, how many terms you want into the series, that is n only, that we are reading. Then instead taking the function call over here, because we need to call this inside for loop. Okay, for all I equals to 0, I must be less than n terms, that is n. Okay, then I plus plus. Okay, here inside it, printf of percentile d, comma, here comma Fibonacci of Fibonacci. So this fib also we need to calculate. So n comma fib of fib equals to 0, initially make it, then take I also, because I we have used over here. Then put the semicolon at the end and make fib of plus plus. That's it. Okay, so in the function what we need to do, and when we have to return what, in the sense integer, here inside whatever you are reading, just with that only we'll try to get the output. So here, if at all n equals to 0, or n n equals to 1, that is if n value is first term or second term, then return n only, otherwise return n only, otherwise call the recursion, otherwise what we have to do, return of Fibonacci, because Fibonacci of n minus 1 plus Fibonacci of n minus 2, same whatever we have in the definition, the same thing we are writing, Fibonacci of n minus 2. This is the recursive call, we can say. Save this. Okay, now go compile. Successfully compiled. Now you execute. It is asking me to input the terms. 5 I am entering. See here 0 1, and the next term will be okay. Here we got some mistake, right? Here we got some mistake. So this is not the Fibonacci sequence. So where it went wrong, in the sense, yeah, here you check. Here you see we set Fibonacci of n minus 1 and Fibonacci of n minus 2, but what I have done, Fibonacci of n minus 1, Fibonacci of n minus 1, this you make it as Fibonacci of n minus 2. So now compile. Okay, now you run. So make the first 5 terms. Now you are getting the perfect result, 0 1 1 2 3. So this is how you can print the Fibonacci series on the output screen in both the approaches, using recursion and using iterative. Okay, the next concept we have the GCD, greatest common divisor, or we can also call it as HCF, highest common factor, GCD or HCF. Okay, when two integers are given, then the largest integer that can exactly divide both the numbers without any reminder. So the largest number which can divide both the numbers is nothing but the GCD, greatest common divisor of the given two numbers. Yeah, this we have done. I think in mathematics we common factors, to find the common factors or to find the highest common factor, we have done such problems at your elementary level, like at 7th class, 8th class, 7th standard, 8th standard. At that time we have done this, finding the highest common factor of given two numbers. So that with the help of programming we do now. Okay, concept is same, but the thing what we do over here is, with the help of coding we try to get the solution, because once you write the code, program code, that code you can apply to any given integers. Okay, if you are writing, if you are doing implementation on a paper, then that implementation will be specific to the given numbers only. Okay, given two numbers only. But if you write a C program code, it will be like a generalized thing. Whatever input you want to give to that, I mean whatever combination of numbers, combination of integers you want to give as an input to the procedure, you can give, and you can get the proper output, proper result printed on the output screen. Okay, so finding the highest common divisor, we are not doing any, I mean, theoretical calculation over here, because we already know. Simply we need to write the factors of the given two numbers, and whatever highest number we have in common in both the factors, that will become the HCF of the given number. We have to round up that one and we have to show it, isn't it? So this procedure we know in mathematics, but in programming how we do that we will see now. Okay, so just go to the compiler. Okay, here you start writing the code. Okay, then next thing, int main of void. This program is also important, equally important, I can say, n2. Okay, the given two numbers, I to run the loop, and gcd to print the result. Four variables I have declared. N1, N2 are the given two numbers. I to run the loop, because we are going in an iterative approach first, then we go for recursive approach. So if you are going with an iterative approach, you need a counter to run the loop. That I is nothing but the counter to the loop. Then GCD greatest common divisor, then printf, read the two numbers, enter any two integers, and at the end put the semicolon, scanf %d space %d comma, read into the first value you read into n1, and the second value you read into n2. Put the semicolon at the end. Then for all I must be equals to 1 and I value must be less than or equals to n1, and I value must be, because I should not go beyond these two numbers, isn't it? I plus plus. Okay, and finding the GCD, if at all, because n1 modulo division I, so you are dividing n1 with I and you are dividing n2 with I, and in both the cases the remainder should be 0, isn't it? n1 divided with I and n2 modulo divided with I, in both the cases the remainder should be 0. If you get such an integer, make it as GCD is equals to I, that's it. Okay, whoever dividing both the numbers, because I value we are continuously incrementing till any of these two numbers. Okay, till any of these two numbers we are continuously incrementing the I value. Then whoever, I mean whatever, I mean from among those numbers, whatever number is dividing both the numbers, okay, perfectly dividing both the numbers, when the remainder is 0, we said it is the number is dividing perfectly, isn't it? If it is dividing, if I is dividing n1 n2 both the numbers perfectly, then we make that I as GCD simply. Okay, next thing, print that one. Okay, printf GCD of %d comma %d is %d. So what is my first percentile D? N1. What is my second percentile D? N2. What is my third percentile D? GCD. Okay, go to the end and put the semicolon, save the program. Okay, that's it. So now compile it. Okay, here L value required. Yeah, here 2 times I have taken less than. Only 1 time is enough. Save it. Now go compile. Okay, next run. See, it is asking me to input any two numbers. If I give 5 comma 6, clearly we can say that the number which can divide these two numbers, the maximum number which can divide these two numbers is 1 only, because no other number we have, isn't it, which can divide these two numbers perfectly. So the GCD of 5 and 6 is 1 only. Okay, take any two numbers like 12 and 24. Okay, the maximum number which will divide 12 and 24 is what? 12 only, isn't it? So the maximum number is 12 only. Likewise, if you take like 6 and 9, yeah, 6 and 9, what is the maximum number which can divide 6 and 9? Okay, I guess 3. Okay, it's 3. So like this. Hopefully you understood this GCD. This we have done in iterative approach. Now we will do in recursive approach. So stdio.h, then int main void, and as we are going for recursion, we need to get GCD function, and we need to pass two numbers to it. Okay, so int main void read n1 n2, no need of running the loop now because we are going in recursive way. Enter the two integers and read n1 n2. Then here, instead of having all these, just remove this because we are going in recursive way. Here what we do, GCD of n1 comma n2, that's it. So now we have to write the definition for that GCD function. So int GCD of int n1 comma int n2. Okay, yes, if at all n2 modulo not equals to 0. Okay, if at all n2 not equals to 0, return, this is our base case, GCD of n2 comma n1 modulo division n2. Okay, it is very easy to understand and solve. Okay, else return n1, return n1. Save this. Only this much code you have to remember from here to here. Okay, it is, you can elaborate this one, the meaning is very clear over here. Okay, so then run. So it is asking me same thing, I am giving 6 comma 9, so the GCD is 3. GCD of 6 comma 9 is 3. Okay, in this way you can print the GCD in recursive approach. Okay, so far we have seen all the examples, like a factorial of a given number, then Fibonacci series, and then GCD. So for all these examples we have seen both the approaches, the recursive approach as well as the um, iterative approach. Okay, so I thought of starting the fifth unit in this session only, but it is taking a lot of time for executing these programs. So it is almost like more than 50 minutes we have completed in this lecture. So better we go and see the further concepts in our next session. Okay, so tomorrow I'm planning one session. Even though it is a Tuesday, I will try to post a class by evening. Okay, so you need to be ready for that one. So in that evening class, Tuesday evening class, we will discuss about pointers. And pointers, this is one of the important concept from your fifth unit. So pointer, at least I can say 30% of the fifth unit I will complete in tomorrow's session. So remaining 60% we will see in our further classes. Okay, so thank you very much, students.